Hi, I'm Rose Velasco, and this is my second edition of Spiritual Storytime with Rose. And the whole concept of this vlog is that I want to share the things that I read out of books that I've accumulated over the past 10 years when I got out of the motorcycle industry and I went back to school at 42 years old, and I went to Southwest Institute of Healing Arts, and my eyes started to open and I started to seek a new way of being and a new way of living my life and inviting spirituality into my life. So a lot of the books that I read out of them because they said something, they had some sort of message that really impacted me and sort of shifted my way of thinking. And this is all stuff that really resonates with me, and I know I can't be the only one in the world that this stuff resonates with. So I am feeling compelled and called to share this stuff, these messages with the world. And so this week, I wanted to tell you that in my life coaching course at SWIHA, Richard Seaman was my instructor. He was my mentor, my teacher. He's, still my mentor. And he wrote a book called Spiritual Reliability, Learning to Become God's Employee. And while I was reading this book, and he's amazing, if you don't know who he is, go find him at Seattle Life Coaching on Instagram. He might be on Facebook too. But he's a very wise man with a big heart, and I learned so much from him. And so I was reading this book, and he was talking in that book about a return to love. So while reading this book, and this one is Reflections on the Principles of A Course in Miracles by Marianne Williamson. And so this book was written, 1990. Copyright is 1992. And so this book, I've been reading through it, and wow, I used to have a hard time saying the word God, and there was probably some people out there that might resonate with that. But I came from a strict Catholic background, and I sort of spent many years becoming un-Catholic, only to find out that a lot of the teachings that they have, I'm not saying all of them, and this is spirituality, not religion, have the same message. And then I keep finding in other belief systems that they all have the same message. And one of those messages I'm going to read to you today is in chapter 4, Surrender. Oh, and here's my bookmark. Shout out to all of my friends that are in Hawaii. I love my friends, period. But I got this the last time that I was in Hawaii, so I wanted to give a shout out to all the people that I love in Hawaii. All right, so chapter 4, Surrender, and we're going to read this. For in God's hands we rest untroubled. So I really learned how to reframe the idea in my brain about God. And this chapter does that very well as well. That's why this book also resonates with me, because of the 10 years that I have been reforming my mind, opening, and allowing curiosity to be there instead of being in this box and not open to new things because of one religion gave me a bad taste in my mouth. So I'm open, I'm curious. I'm a Gemini, of course. I'm going to be playful. I'm going to be curious. I'm going to be the little child, because the Gemini is like the child of the astrology. So I hear. So I read. I'm a reader. I love it. Okay. Zip it, Rose. Let's get to this whole point. All All right, faith is, surrender is the chapter 4, faith is the first excerpt. There is no problem in any situation that faith will not solve. What if we truly believed there is a God, a beneficent order to things, a force that's holding things together without our conscious control? What if we could see in our daily lives the working of that force? What if we believe it loved us somehow and cared for us and protected us? What if we believed we could afford to relax? The physical body is at work every moment, an array of mechanisms with a brilliance of design and efficiency our human efforts have never begun to match. Our hearts beat, our lungs breathe, our ears hear, our hair grows, and we don't have to make them work. They just do. Planets revolve around the sun, seeds become flowers, embryos become babies, and with no help from us, their movement is built into a natural system. You and I are integral parts of that system too. We can let our lives be directed by the same force that makes flowers grow, or we can do it ourselves. To trust in the force that moves the universe is faith. Faith isn't blind, it's visionary. Faith is believing that the universe is on our side and that the universe knows what it's doing. Faith is a psychological awareness of an unfolding force of good, constantly at work in all dimensions. Our attempts to direct this force only interferes with it. Our willingness to relax into it allows it to work on our behalf. Without faith, we're frantically trying to control what is not our business to control and fix what is not in our power to fix. What we're trying to control is much better off without us, and what we're trying to fix can't be fixed by us anyways. Without faith, we're wasting time. All right, so this time I have Waterloo. I like LaCroix, but Waterloo is still pretty good. And this is a new flavor, orange vanilla. Yeah. I'm not doing that for trying to get a commercial or anything. I'm just being silly. All right. Without faith, we're wasting time. There are objective, discernible laws of physical phenomena. Take gravity, for instance, or the law of thermodynamics. You don't exactly have faith in the law of gravity so much as you just know that it is. There are objective, discernible laws of non-physical phenomena as well. These two sets of laws, those which rule both external and internal worlds, are parallel. Externally, the universe supports our physical survival. Photosynthesis in plants and plankton in the ocean produce the oxygen that we need in order to breathe. It is important to respect the laws that rule the physical universe because violation of these laws threatens our survival. When we pollute the oceans or destroy plant life, we are destroying our support system and so are destroying ourselves. Internally, the universe supports our survival as well, emotionally and psychologically. The internal equivalent to oxygen. What we need in order to survive is love. Human relationships exist to produce love. When we pollute our relationships with unloving thoughts or destroy or abort them with unloving attitudes, we are threatening our emotional survival. So the laws of the universe merely describe the way things are. These laws aren't invented, they're discovered. They're not dependent on our faith. Faith in them merely shows we understand what they are. Violation of these laws doesn't bespeak a lack of goodness, just a lack of intelligence. We respect the laws of nature in order to survive. And what is the highest internal law? That we love one another. Because if we don't, we will all die. As surely as a lack of oxygen will kill us, so will a lack of love. 2, resistance. Faithlessness is not lack of faith, but faith in nothing. A Course in Miracles tells us that there is no such thing as a faithless person. Faith is an aspect of consciousness. We either have faith in fear, or we have faith in love, faith in the power of the world, or faith in the power of God. We've basically been taught that it is our job as responsible adults to be active, to be masculine in nature, to go out and get the job, to take control of our lives, to take the bull by the horns. We've been taught that that's our power. We think we're powerful because of what we've achieved rather than because of what we are. So we're caught in a catch-22. We feel powerless to achieve until we already have. If someone comes along and suggests that we go with the flow, maybe lighten up a little, we really feel hysterical. After all, we're total underachievers as far as we can see anyways. The last thing we can imagine doing is becoming any more passive than we already are. Passive energy has its own kind of strength. Personal power results from a balance of masculine and feminine forces. Passive energy without active energy becomes lazy, but active energy without passive energy becomes tyrannous. An overdose of male aggressive energy is macho, controlling, unbalanced, and unnatural. The problem is that aggressive energy is what we've all been taught to respect. We've been taught that life was made for quarterbacks, so we exalt our masculine consciousness, which, when untempered by the feminine, is hard. Therefore, so are we, all of us, men and women. We've created a fight mentality. We're always fighting for something, for the job, the money, the relationship, to get out of the relationship, to lose weight, to get sober, to get them to understand, to get them to stay, to get them to leave, and on and on. We never put away our swords. The feminine, surrendered place in us is passive. It doesn't do anything. The spiritualization process in men as well as women is a feminization process, a quieting of the mind. It is the cultivation of personal magnetism. If you have a pile of iron shavings and you want to arrange them in beautiful patterns, you can do one of two things. You can use your fingers and try to arrange the tiny pieces of iron into beautiful gossamer lines, or you can buy a magnet. The magnet will attract the iron shavings. It symbolizes our feminine consciousness, which exerts its power through attraction rather than activity. I really love this. When I read this, I was like, yes, I love this so much. I have completely come to a space of embodying that passive nature, but still doing the things that I need to do to get things done, but to surrender into that space of curiosity, that space of stop trying to make things work. And how I've said for Yoga Nidra is it's easier to mold water than it is to chip away and mold ice, right? That's what Yoga Nidra does. But when we bring this into our daily life, this concept into our daily life of just going with the flow, but you still got to kind of steer the boat a little, right? That's where the balance comes in. I think I wrote a blog about this last year, maybe the year before, about driving with your wrist. So you can't just let go of the wheel and let spirit, universe, or the car drive itself. I mean, you have to have a little bit of active movement. It's like it's similar to being like a wet spaghetti noodle, like just floppy. Like you don't want to be that. Like maybe an al dente spaghetti noodle. A little bit of form there. That's my take on it anyways. Take it or leave it. Okay. The magnet will attract iron shavings. It symbolizes feminine consciousness, which exerts its power through attraction rather than activity. This attractive, receptive, feminine aspect of our consciousness is the space of mental surrender. In the Taoist philosophy, yin is the feminine principle, representing the forces of the earth, while yang is the masculine principle, representing spirit. When God is referred to as he, then all mankind becomes she. This isn't a man-woman issue. Reference to God as masculine principle in no way impinges on feminist conviction. Our feminine self is just as important as our masculine self. And I teach this in yoga too. We have feminine and masculine in our body, the yin and the yang. So the yin is the feminine aspect. It's the left side of our body, and that is Ida. Crosses at the bridge of the nose, by the way. And then Pingala is the masculine, the right side of the body. Left side of the brain, that's where it crosses at the bridge of the nose. So our nurturing, sort of receptive and surrendering and passive creative side comes from our right side brain. That's why if you've ever tried to color or draw with your left hand, it might be a little more detailed, but maybe the lines aren't quite as straight and beautiful. And then our right side is the doing brain. It's the math, it's the logical, the thinking, the problem solving and stuff. So having that balance is very important. The right relationship between male and female principle is one in which the feminine surrenders to the masculine. Again, remember, if God is referred to as he, then all of mankind becomes she. If spirit is referred to as he, then all of mankind becomes she. The right relationship between male and female principle is one in which the feminine surrenders to the masculine. Surrender is not weakness or loss. It is a powerful non-resistance. Through openness and receptivity on the part of human consciousness, spirit is allowed to infuse our lives, to give them meaning and direction. The Christic philosophical terms, Mary symbolizes the feminine within us, which is impregnated by God, the masculine. The female allows this process and is fulfilled by surrendering into it. This is not weakness on her part. It is strength. The Christ on earth is fathered by God and mothered by our humanness. Through a mystical connection between the human and the divine, we give birth to our higher self. Mind-blowing, isn't it? I mean, it is. It is for people that this is new to. So I'm just gonna say that if please like, subscribe, and share these videos, because there might be someone out there that's seeking this kind of viewpoint, and not even know it. So, just share and if somebody doesn't like it, it doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm sure it's not going to hurt Marianne Williamson's feelings or Richard Siemens' feelings, So, but to get it out there and to share is a gift. It's a gift, and that's why I want to do this so much, and why I am doing it. I was just like, I got to do it. All right, giving up results. This is 3. You will never lose your way, for God leads you. When we surrender to God, we surrender to something bigger than ourselves, to a universe that knows what it is doing. When we stop trying to control events, they fall into a natural order, an order that works. We're at rest while a power much greater than our own takes over, and it does a much better job than we could have done ourselves. We learn to trust that the power that holds galaxies together can handle the circumstances of our relatively little lives. Surrender means, by definition, giving up attachment to results. This is yoga teaching too. So, it goes across so many belief systems. When we surrender to God, we let go of our attachment to how things happen on the outside, and we become more concerned with what happens on the inside. The experience of love is a choice we make, a mental decision to see love as the only real purpose and value in any situation. Until we make that choice, we keep striving for results that we think would make us happy. But we've all gotten things that we thought would make us happy only to find out that they didn't make us happy. This external searching, looking to anything other than love is to complete us. Let me say that again. This external searching, looking to anything other than love to complete us and to be the source of our happiness is the meaning of idolatry. Money, sex, power, or any other worldly satisfaction offers just temporary relief for minor existential pain. God means love. Will means thought. God's will, then, is loving thought. If God is the source of all good, then the love within us is the source of all good. When we love, we are automatically placing ourselves within the attitudinal and behavioral context that leads to an unfoldment of events at the highest level of the good for everyone involved. Yes, yes. We don't always know what that unfoldment would look like, but we don't need to. God will do his part if we do ours. Our only job in every situation is to merely let go of our resistance to love. What happens then is up to him. We've surrendered control. We let him lead. We have faith. He knows how. There's a myth that some people are more faithful than others. A truer statement is that in some areas, some of us are more surrendered than others. We surrender to God first the things we don't really care that much about. Some of us don't mind giving up attachment to career goals, but there's no way we're going to surrender our romantic relationships or vice versa. Everything we don't care that much about, fine, God can have it. But if it's really, really important, we think we better handle it ourselves. The truth is, of course, that the more important it is to us, the more important it is to surrender. That which is surrendered is taken care of best. To place something in the hands of God is to give it over mentally to the protection and care of the beneficence of the universe. To keep it ourselves means to constantly grab and clutch and manipulate. That's exhausting. We keep opening the oven to see if the bread is baking, which only ensures that it's never going to get a chance to bake. Where we have an attachment to results, we tend to have a hard time giving up control. But how can we know what results to try to achieve in a situation when we don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow? What do we ask for? Instead of, "Dear God, please let us fall in love," or "Please give me this job," we say, "Dear God, my desire, my priority is inner peace. I want the experience of love. I don't know what would bring that to me. I leave the results of this situation in your hands. I trust your will. May your will be done. Amen." And I like to say, and so it is. I used to feel I couldn't afford to relax because God had more important things to do than my life, to think about than my life. I finally realized that God is not capricious, but is rather an impersonal love for all life. My life is no more or less precious to him than anyone else's. To surrender to God is to accept the fact that he loves us and provides for us because he loves and provides for all. Surrender does not obstruct our power. It enhances it. God is merely the love within us, so returning to him is returning to ourselves. There's another one. There's a fourth. I'm just going to finish this chapter. It's going to go over the half hour, but that's okay. If you're along for the ride, you're along for the ride. The surrendered life. Holy child of God, when will you learn that only holiness can content you and give you peace? To relax, to feel the love in your heart, and keep to that as your focus in every situation, that's the meaning of spiritual surrender. It changes us. We become deeper and more attractive people. Excuse me. In Zen Buddhism, there is a concept called Zen mind, or beginner's mind. They say that the mind should be like an empty rice bowl. If it's already full, then the universe can't fill it. I mean, that only makes sense, right? If it's empty, it has room to receive. This means that when we think we have things already figured out, we're not teachable. Genuine insight can't dawn on a mind that's not open to receive it. Surrender is a process of emptying the mind. In the Christic tradition, this is the meaning of becoming as a little child. Little children don't think they know what things mean. In fact, they know they don't know. They ask someone older and wiser to explain things to them. We're like children who don't know, but we think we do. The wise person doesn't pretend to know what it's impossible to know. I don't know can be an empowering statement. When we go into a situation not knowing, there is something inside us which does. With our conscious mind, we step back in order that a higher power within us can step forward and lead the way. Oh, I'm glad I'm reading this because I remember reading this and it's very powerful. We need less posturing and more genuine charisma. Charisma was originally a religious term, meaning of the spirit or inspired. It's about letting God's light shine through us. It's about a sparkle in people that money can't buy. It's an invisible energy with visible effects. To let go, to just love, is not to fade into the wallpaper. Quite contrary, it's when we truly become bright. We're letting our own light shine. We are meant to be this way. We are meant to shine. Look at small children. They're all so unique before they start trying to be, because they demonstrate the power of genuine humility. This is also the explanation of beginner's luck. When we go into a situation not knowing the rules, we don't pretend to know how to figure anything out, and we don't know yet what there is to be afraid of. This releases the mind to create from its own higher power. Situations shift gears. Lights go on simply because our minds have opened up to receive love. We have gotten out of our own way. I've been hearing that a lot lately. I just want to get out of my own way. When I get out of my own way, things happen. This is speaking directly to that. Love is a win mode, a success and attractive vibration. We think that success is difficult, and so for us it is. Success in life doesn't have to involve negative tension. We don't have to struggle all the time. If you think about it, taking the bull by the horns would be a very dangerous thing to do. In fact, ambitious tension actually limits our ability to succeed because it helps us. I'm going to say that again. In fact, ambitious tension actually limits our ability to succeed because it keeps us in a state of contraction, emotionally and physically. It seems to give us energy, but doesn't really. Sort of like the white sugar of mental health. There's a short high followed by a crash. The cultivation of mental rest or surrender is like eating healthy food. It doesn't give us an immediate rush, but over time, it provides a lot more energy. This doesn't require sitting in the lotus position all day. We still get excited, but more gently. Many people associate a spiritual life with a grade B movie, but God doesn't get rid of all the drama in our lives. He just gets rid of the cheap drama. There is no higher drama than true personal growth. Nothing could be more genuinely dramatic than boys becoming real men and girls becoming real women. Something amazing happens when we surrender and just love. We melt into another world, a realm of power already within us. The world changes when we change. The world softens when we soften. The world loves us when we choose to love the world. Surrender means the decision to stop fighting the world and to start loving it instead. It is a gentle liberation from pain. But liberation isn't about breaking out of anything. It's a gentle melting into who we really are. We let down our armor and discover the strength of our Christ self. A Course in Miracles tells us that although we think that without the ego all would be chaos, the opposite is true. Without the ego, all would be love. We are simply asked to shift focus and to take on a more gentle perception. That's all God needs. Just one sincere, surrendered moment when love matters more than anything. And we know that nothing else really matters at all. What He gives us in return for our openness to Him is an outpouring of His power from deep within us. We are given His power to share with the world, to heal all wounds, to awaken all hearts. So that was chapter 4 of A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. This is the reflections of the principles of A Course in Miracles. I hope you enjoyed this read. And if you want the book, I'm sure you can find it on Amazon, or they might even have it on, what is that? Yeah, I can't remember the name of that, of what, of the site I'm thinking of. Anyways, yes, A Return to Love. It's a really good book. That was only one chapter. So if you want to bend your mind or pry it open a little, then there you have it. I'm really looking forward to inviting other people onto making this live and inviting another person in, split screen, as we conversate about these concepts. So if you are interested, comment here, or maybe even send me an email at roses, the letter R, free at rosevelasco.com, and let me know if you would like to sit in with me for a little chat, a little read and a little chat. And I'm very curious to other people's books, what books that others have found have really resonated with them spiritually and sort of uplifted their belief and their, in their lives, because along with when we are feeling more spiritually connected, happiness, love, joy, all of those good things happen. So we kind of vibrationally lift ourselves up out of the mud. Kind of like a lotus flower grows out of the mud and through the water, and then once it blooms above the water, it's getting the sun, it's getting the nutrients from in the water and from the sun. So a beautiful lotus flower grows from the mud. And I feel like we as humans can do that as well. Sometimes we get caught up in the stress of life and the challenges and the suffering, the pain and suffering of life. And let's be the lotus flower. Let's be it together. I love you. Thank you so much for watching. Mwah, mwah. Until next time, au revoir. Namaste. I've been saying the love within me sees and honors the beautiful love within you. And Jai Bhagwan. Victory to your spirit. Thanks for watching.